Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, hit you all at band. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind Dale, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, hit you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
It's that time again. Welcome back to another Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. I'm Gaarawarr. Today we're going to be tutorializing about the Great Modron March, Year 6. Year 6. So, it's the current event in Idle Champions. Idle Champions. With me today... Now I'm just going to say as always, because it's been Gabe like over and over and over again. So Gabe is here. Gabe's running production in the background, grabbing questions from chat, keeping an eye on everything going on, making the codes, I'm sure they'll get the new code updated for people who are so very desperate to just get the code and leave. Get the code and leave. You know, it happens. It's cool. Thanks for stopping by. So yeah, we're going to dive into the Great Modron March, and talk about that. The way this show works is, I talk for about an hour. If you have questions and you put them in chat, you do it with question : Gabe will grab them, throw them in a document for me to see, and then in the second half of the show, I answer all the questions. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. So if you have a question at any time, don't hesitate to type it into the thing. Doesn't even matter if it's on today's topic or not. That's fine. When we get to the second half of the show, I will hit the on-topic questions first and then follow up with all the rest. All right. So... let us begin. So this is the usual map you see when you're not doing events. But when the event pops up over here at the top of the campaign banner, you're going to see whatever the current event is. This is the Great Modron March. It's now, it used to just happen occasionally, I guess. Now it happens every year. Freaks people out with all the Modrons everywhere. I get it. You will see an event node, hopefully. If it spawned you in down here, scroll up. There's always going to be an event node, and if you hover it over, it'll show you what rewards are still left to get. Usually, there's a bigger number here, but I did everything already. Because I'm impatient. No, because I've done these for past years, and then, and then I had to get Evandra, because, new champion, right? This works a lot like a campaign. It is effectively a miniature version of the game. It's a much quicker version of the game, too, in the sense of gaining favor and making progress. So you will start out with 0 favor, and then you can work your way up to, plaid favor. Lots of favor, right? Depending on your power. There's also going to be a note up here about gears, rusted gears this time around. These are the event tokens for the event. Everything that you want to do in an event is gated by tokens, so you have to pay a little access fee to get in. This is because they, originally the idea was they want to limit, how much gear you're getting, get everybody to roughly a balanced amount of gear for the champions, and then let you spend the rest of your time, in the game earning, trying to get, chasing that full epic and getting more item levels. Nowadays, we just use bounty contracts. Bounty contracts are a thing that drop out of almost all chests. Probably, except for like Modron and Bahamut. But, bounty contracts are consumables that give you time-based rewards. Now, when an event isn't happening, that's just gold during a run. But while an event is happening, that's also event tokens. So people all over the world, like me, hoard their bounty contracts until an event happens, and then open a bunch of them, have hundreds of thousands of event tokens, and then get some even millions, and then get lots and lots and lots of gear during events. I did that with Avondra. We'll be opening up Avondra chests later. I think I've got her in full blues already, just from Electrums, but we'll gear her up in a bit. So keep in mind when you start, it is a 0 favor type of thing, and when you come in, you will have 3 adventures. One is going to be, one for each champion, because the way this works is each champion basically gets their own little mini campaign. All the enemies and everything are going to be the same in terms of the levels, and you're sharing the same favor, but what happens is you get a different formation layout for each champion. As you can see, there, everybody gets a different one. So you have to, pop in. Every single one of the champions is going to share the same favor. So the way I work it is I do their unlock adventure, and I treat it like a favor run, which means I push really far. I may even use potions on that first run, not like major potions, but not like the epics, but like maybe larges, mediums or larges, just to try to get a little further and get as much gold, earn as much gold, get as far as I can so that it converts into a lot of favor. And then I'll do it again, and then I'll do it again. Some of the formations are better than others for pushing for favor. If we want to take a look here, Mahen's Mehen is full disclaimer, Mahen's my favorite champion in the game, not because they're amazingly strong or anything, but just because of their lore and the way they exist in the game. And their formation layout is a heart, because they love their daughters. Mahen's the best. Yeah, this is not a good formation for pushing. Real deep, though. It's awesome that they made a heart, but there's not a lot of adjacencies here. Everybody's spread out, and adjacencies are kind of a big deal in the meta right now in Idle Champions. So being able to put champions adjacent to other champions to buff them is real strong. Currently. Nordem a little better. Nordem's a little better. We got, I don't know, I think it's a crossbow. I think it's supposed to be their little crossbow thing maybe going on here. Single tank front line, and then a column of 4, which can be big. So not a ton of adjacencies, but you can stack up in columns and get a decent amount. This one's pretty solid. Avondra's, I would say, is better though. Potentially 2 tank front line, if you like spreading between 2 tanks. Not everybody does. And then a good chunk of adjacencies right in here with some space to leave some champions alone, because some champions like that. So, figure out the one that's best for you, but just understand some are going to work better for deep pushing than others. Yeah. Once you unlock each champion, then it's going to look like this. These will now be free plays that you can run over and over again for favor, but also for a chance at a chest for that champion. Now, it's either going to, it says a question mark here because it's either going to be a silver chest or a gold chest. This is how you obtain extra gear for the champions. You'll do these variants. The variants will give you a guaranteed gold chest. But then to get more than just 3 guaranteed gold chests, you'll need to do these free plays. You only have to complete area 50 in the free plays. That's it. It's real easy. I refer to it as just grinding out your free plays because they're short runs, and you just do them over and over again. The odds of getting a gold chest from free plays, 1 in 3. 1 in 3. However, if you don't get a gold chest in one of those first 3 runs that you do for that same champion, then in your 4th one, you're guaranteed one. So guaranteed pity timer of a gold chest at 4. Now, every time you do a free play, like the cost starts at 500, but it goes up by 500 every time you do it, caps at 2,500, which takes us to a total, if you get bad luck, of 10,000 tokens to get a gold chest from free plays. But along the way, you'll also get, at worst, 3 silvers. You might get 4 golds out of those tokens, though. You never know. I call this out because if you go in the shop, you can actually spend 10,000 tokens on just a single gold chest. It's a bit of a trap. Do the free plays. The reason they're in the shop is that if it comes to the Monday where the event ends, and this event will end on Monday, June 5th at noon, Pacifically speaking. If it's that Monday morning and it's, maybe almost noon, and you're like, oh, I forgot to do my runs over the weekend and I've got like 20,000 tokens, you can at least go buy 2 gold chests, right? But yeah, just know the best thing to do with your tokens, once you've done all the variants, is just to do free plays over and over again to 50, get your chests. Okay. Each champion is going to have 3 variants. Again, those variants are going to guarantee you a gold chest. You do not want to use these variants, generally speaking, to push for favor. If you don't have a lot of favor, if you didn't get a lot from your deep pushes unlocking the champions, you're going to want to pick the free play that's got the best formation for you, and do more runs, do more favor runs before you even attempt the variants. And what'll happen is each of these variants has a different area goal. So this one's 75, this is 125, and this is 175. This becomes difficulty easy at a lower favor level than this. This becomes difficulty easy at a lower favor level than this, because favor is all that controls the difficulty rating. It's a fairly simple system. It isn't accurate everywhere, but it's pretty accurate for events. Generally speaking, as long as you can make it show as easy before you attempt it, you shouldn't have a problem with it. You shouldn't have a problem with it. That's not necessarily true in regular campaigns, but in events it tends to hold pretty solid. I tend to recommend just doing favor pushes until all of them show as green. Getting the 3rd one, the 175 one, to show as green takes roughly 1.5 E08 favor. That's scientific notation. That's what we use in this house. It's kind of the easiest way to compare numbers and talk about things instead of having to remember what all the little letters use. So 1.5, this is, I'm going to do math on stream. 1.5 E08 favor, that's going to be 150 million, I think. When in doubt, if you can get to E10 or higher fairly easily, that just absolutely smokes every variant. Just so you know. Just so you know. What, you remember if big S little t is bigger than little q little t? No, I don't. No. Scientific notation, please. Thank you. All right, so let's talk about each of these variants, and then we're going to dive into a free play, and we're going to talk about each of the champions. Mahen is the first up. I didn't even name off all the champions that are here. Mahen, Nordem, and Avondra are with us in the Great Modron March Year 6. Mehen is a Year 4 champion, so that means they arrived a couple of years ago. Nordem was Year 5, and Evandra is the brand new champion. Elf spreading her way into our hearts in this Year 6. All right, the elusive bounty. There's a lot of text down here, and this is the thing with variants: is there's a restriction. Restrictions are what make variants a pain in the butt. You have to be able to. You can't just rely always on difficulty ratings in the real campaigns. You really need to read the restrictions. Again, in here, if everything shows as green, you should be okay, but you're still going to need to know what's ahead of you, or you might have a very bad, no good day. Mehen starts in the formation. He can be moved. It doesn't say if he can be removed. I don't know. The Pixie arrives in each boss area to taunt Mehen, buffing all enemies so they move 100% faster and deal 100% more damage. I like the 100% faster thing. I consider that a speed mechanic. I like it when they go faster, because then it means they rush onto the screen faster and they die faster. You must defeat her, meaning the Pixie, in addition to the area requirements to advance. And then there's a lot of stuff about getting to know Mehen. We'll get to know Mehen when we get into the adventure. So basically, there's an extra enemy on the screen. It's a Pixie. You got to kill it to complete every area, or in every boss area, and everything moves faster and does more damage while it's alive. It's not a horrible restriction. In fact, I wouldn't even call it a restriction. Since you're only going to Area 75, it should be fine. Again, when I say it should be fine, I'm basing these opinions off everyone having these show as difficulty easy. Okay. The never-ending march continues. The second variant, every time a Modron is killed in non-boss areas, it shuts down for 5 seconds, and then just comes back to life with full health, as you do. Modron enemies deal 100% additional damage. So this is what I refer to as a swarm variant. It's just kind of a delayed swarm. They're just trying to overrun your tank line. Generally, I say, hey, get a little extra favor if you're using like an AOE champion, you're gonna be fine. And that's somebody like Minsk or Zorbu. If you're using a multi-hit champion, you can get into a problem where your multi-hits are killing these reanimated Modrons, and it may slow things down a little. You may need a little bit of more favor, just to make sure your tank always stays alive. And if you're using a single target DPS, first off, why? Second, you're gonna need more favor, because it's gonna take a while to actually hit the things that you need to hit. In that case, fire breath potions are your friend, with a familiar on the screen. All right, Volo's Guide to Grumpy Guys. First off, Volo's a hack. Stop listening to Volo. Volo just makes everything worse. Volo has returned to observe the formation. This is the X. He's broken our hearts, which, yeah, I mean, that's on brand. That means that's where Volo's going to be. Only male champions can be used. Okay. So this is a limiter. If you don't have a lot of champions yet, you might not be able to build a full formation. And even if you can, it might not be optimal. In these situations, I recommend every time you're down a champion slot, and you're going to be down one here, I recommend getting at least an order of magnitude more favor, which means EO1. EO1 more favor than what you would normally have, and this is normally in the EO8, so getting to EO9 will override the fact that you've got to deal with Volo. There are some other event champions out there that can help you with this too, but I approach my recommendations based off people being new players, and not necessarily having a lot of options. So yeah, and if any other empty formation slot, another order of magnitude favor. Right. Enemies move 100% faster, deal 100% additional damage. Yeah, I mean, sure. Because Vola makes everything worse. On to Nordem's variants. Rogue Modron hunting. Nordem starts in the formation. They can't be moved or removed. And we see this illustrated down here with the white C for champion. That's where Nordem's going to be. He's going to be in that little column by himself. And this is fine because of the way Nordem works. That's where you would want him. Means you're going to put your DPS in this 4-stack column. Nordem is hunted by duo drones and pentadrones. They drop no gold, nor do they count towards quest progress. Again, standard swarm variant. They're just trying to overload you with a lot of extra enemies. Not a horrible thing. A lawful lot of champions. Love that name. Again, Nordem, we can already tell without reading. Nordem's the hard C is down here. We know he's in the formation and can't be moved. Chaotic champions can't be used, and neutral champions on the lawful chaotic axis deal no damage, but can still use their formation abilities. So this tells us right off the bat we're being restricted again on the champions that we can use. We want to make sure that our DPS is lawful. So lawful, it can say lawful good, it can say lawful neutral, it can say lawful evil. It just has to have lawful for the alignment. Yeah. That's it. What does that mean for a newer player? That means Ashara DPS, if I remember correctly. I think she's the lawful one. Alright. Otherwise, you know, you're going to be fine. You can just remember, if you're running short on champions, throw in, get some extra favor, and you'll be fine. Core strength. Core strength. This is a reference to Modron cores, which are another thing in the game. Again, we've got the C for the champion right here in the third column. So we know Nordem is required. Potions of speed gain 100% duration bonus. So they want you to go fast. They want to let you go fast. So, you know, small, mediums, and larges are going to be double the time. Obviously, the epics are, you know, they're not getting a duration bonus because they're just on for the whole run. So, you may only use champions with the speed tag and/or champions with strength of 16 or higher. Again, potentially incredibly restrictive to your formation building. Favor is the extra favor will help you overcome this. Extra favor will help you overcome this. Okay. It is like, you know, 1,250 rusted gears. That's a lot. It's a decent amount. So if you are worried about completing this, the way you can test it, and the way you can test any variant that you're worried about failing, because if you fail and you can't do it, you close it out and you have to try again after going to get more favor or something. But you lose all the tokens you spent, because you spend those just to get in, right? And since those tokens could be used for extra gear, you want to be careful. So what you can do is you could go into a free play for Nordem, and you can just build your formation using this restriction. They have to have the speed tag, or they have to have strength 16 or higher. See what kind of formation you can build, and see if you can complete Area 175, because there's no other restrictions here. It's just that. If you can do it, great. Then you can just go and do the variant. If you can't, then just swap into, in the free play, swap into regular formation. Push deep for favor again, and then do another run and see if that makes it possible, right? You just turn it into a favor run. You turn your test into a favor run. It's pretty easy. All right, and now for Avondra's fight first, ask questions later. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. Once again, we see the C here in the formation, so we know Evandra is going to be in the tank column. Only neutral on the good and evil axis. Champions can deal damage, so neutral DPS. Neutral DPS. Once again, I think that's Ashara. I think she's lawful neutral. I have to check when we hop in the party, but off the top of my head, I think that's Ashara. Yeah, that's it. You just got to make sure your DPS is neutral, because no one else is going to do damage. This is going to slow down your push through these 75 levels a little bit. Because normally everybody in the party is killing things at low levels because everybody's got damage, and then it slowly shifts into only your DPS kills things. But when a Char is the only when if you're using a Char when that DPS is the only one killing things, then it's going to take a little longer to push through. But it's not difficult. You only got to get to 75, and a Char is a great champion to get you 75 levels again, as long as you've got the favor for it. Half-Elf Pink and the Bard. This is a reference to all of the current members of the Awful Ones. So Avondra, Nixie, and Antreus. So Evandra starts in the formation again. We have a C here. Stays there. If you have them and they're not already on another adventure, Antreus and Nixie start unlocked and in the formation. It doesn't say where. That means it's because you can move them around and you can remove them if you want. Basically, it's just trying to say, hey, why don't you use all of the Awful Ones if you got them. If you got them. 1 to 2 mechanical guards spawn with every wave. Now, these are special enemies. These are not Modrons. People got a little confused because they arrive in mechanical things. Oh, it must be a Modron. No, these are mechanical guards. They don't drop gold, nor do they count towards quest progress. They are a construct. Construct enemies move at 300% speed and deal 300% damage. So they're just trying to rush you and beat you to death, basically. So yeah, again, if you're using Nixie, Fireball is going to help. And outside that, I don't really find this to be super restrictive. Again, I kind of like it when they make things move faster. They just get to my death dealers quicker. That's the way I look at it. So as long as they're not hitting your party, they're not, they're that 300% damage never happens. But again, make sure you've got the favor for it. That's what friends are for. Avondra starts in a formation again. We see the C down here. You may only use champions that are female, non-binary, fighters, rangers, barbarians, paladins, or have a total ability score of 78 or less. I know this is like, well, isn't that just everything? What they're doing here is they're leaning into her specialization choices. You can use all of these, but she's going to give you a boost if you have a lot of certain ones. That's a long list. Again, if you end up not having a full formation, a little more favor is going to be just fine. A little more favor is going to be just fine. All right, let's hop into Evandra's free play, and we will get some champions out on the field. First off, familiars though. Familiars. Oh no, I'm going to have to do this by memory. Mehen is in 3. For anybody who was wondering, of course I got Mahen's skin. Of course. Come on. Let me change it back. This is the Proud Papa Mahen skin in the store now. It's the best. It's the best. All right, let me get him looking normal though, so people recognize him. Although I feel like Proud Papa Mahen is his default appearance, and this is the skin he puts on when he goes to war. I feel like that's the way it should be. There's Nordom, and then we come back here, and here's Avondra, and here's Avondra. So there's our 3 champions. There's our 3 champions. Okay. Let's level them up and have a little discussion about what's going on here. So Mahen is a male dragonborn fighter, a neutral good alignment. He fulfills the support and gold find roles. He's part of the Brimstone Angels affiliation, which is literally him and his 2 adopted daughters, Havilar and Farida. They're the Brimstone Angels. That's the shirt that he was wearing in that other skin is for his favorite anime, Brimstone Angels Go Go Go, and it's Havilar and Farida on there, and it says Brimstone Angels Go Go Go. It's just, we're rolling in all of our external canon into this, and I love it. Melee basic attack, you could tell because it's a sword. If it has, this is the magical icon. If it were going to be magical, which is ultimate is. Double strike is the attack. A Mehen leaps out and attacks a random enemy, swinging down and then up, scoring a hit each time. So 2 hits for the price of 1. We'll talk about Lightning Breath in a bit. Actually, we need to talk about the abilities so that Lightning Breath makes sense. Grumpy. I mean, come on. He's an adopted father. Of course he's grumpy. Mahen buffs the DPS of champions in his column and all columns in front of him. So this means, either you put Mahen in the column with the DPS or you put him behind it. You just don't want Mahen in front of the DPS, right? This buff is highest at 50 stacks, falling off sharply beyond 10 stacks on either side. What does that mean, Codename Entertainment? You didn't explain that. Well, okay. So when they don't explain something here on the upgrades list, click over to formation buffs and find it. Oh, that's way better. Thanks. Mahen buffs the DPS of champions in his column and all the columns in front of them. This buff is highest at 50 stacks, falling off sharply beyond 10 stacks on either side. He gains stacks every second. 1 if he's in the front. So if I put him all the way in the tank column, 1 stack every second. 5 if he's in the back, and a linear increase for each column in between. So the further back he is, the more stacks he earns. This is important, right? You'll see. Stacks are removed based on the actions of Mehen, Farida, or Havilar. Or Havilar. Minus 10% stacks if they attack. So just one of them attacks, you lose 10% of Mehen stacks. 10% stacks if they take damage, which Mahen should not be in your tank column. Neither should Farida. Havilar, however, is a tank, so what they're saying here really is if Havilar takes damage, most of the time. Keep in mind this one will trigger if AoEs from enemies hit your party, or if your enemies are like ranged and they hit random people in the formation. This could trigger. 4 seconds shared cooldown, so it's only 1 reduction every 4 seconds. And then 5% of stacks if they get a kill with a base attack. That's generally, once you're pushing deeper, going to be just Farida. Farida is your DPS in the affiliation. So Havilar's the tank, Farida's the DPS, Mahen is the support. Okay. So you can see I'm getting, it tells me what my stacks per second are, 4.2, because this is a stretched out formation. It tells me what my current stacks are, and it tells me what the buff I'm getting is. And as you can see, as it goes higher, the buff actually gets a little lower. There's a buff management situation going on here, and you can see it visually displayed here. It is this bar with the blue and red and the lightning bolt. Ideally, you want the lightning bolt in the red. So you can, one of the ways you can do that is by adjusting where Mahen is in your formation. The further forward he is, the fewer stacks he earns every second. So the more often he's potentially going to be losing stacks, right? So if we see him going out and hitting things, every time he hits things, he's going to try to bring his stack meter down a little bit. Unfortunately, by himself, in a formation, it is very hard to get his meter in the middle. That's just the reality. Mahen is true to his lore. He is at his best when he's with his daughters. This is why I love Mahen. This is going to be a little hard to manage via the formation unless one or both of his daughters are in the formation. Then it becomes much easier, and his buff gets bigger. Let's throw some familiars back out. All right. So that's Grumpy. Gruff. Mahen increases the effect of his Grumpy buff on champions based on how many columns ahead of him they are. It starts at 100% and is doubled for each additional column. So now we're working with a couple things. We want Mahen. We want to manage Mahen's stacks, but we also want his buff to be. We also want another way to buff his to make his buff bigger. And you know, if you're in a situation where you just can't manage his stacks, putting him as far back as possible from the DPS makes the buff he provides them bigger, based off the column difference. So that's. If you can't manage his stacks, just make sure he's as far away from your DPS as possible, as far behind them as possible. All right, Found Family. Mehen increases gold find by 100% for each tiefling champion in the formation. And you're like, but he's a dragonborn. His daughters are tieflings. Hence, Found Family. And when we get to his feats, I'm just going to spoil it now. Mehen has a feat that makes him count as a tiefling. So he will always, if you have the feat in, he will count for the 100% gold find, and then any other tieflings increase it. Brimstone Angels, go, go, go. Increases the effect of Grumpy by 400% if Farida is in the formation, and a further 400 if Havilar is in the formation, and that stacks multiplicatively. So 400% times 400%. So having them both in makes the damage go way up. Right? Again, he is all about his daughters. Specialization choices. You can either go Cheer Up Pops or We've Trained for this. Cheer Up Pops increases the rate at which Grumpy stacks are added by 1. It's a flat increase. It doesn't matter the column. And it increases the effect of Grumpy by 400%. So this makes his buff bigger, but it also makes it much harder to manage. You kind of only want to do Cheer Up Pops, in my opinion, if you're doing a Brimstone Angels formation. You could try it, and there's a reason to try it. We'll talk about his ultimate. But I do like... I do think that it can be problematic if you don't have his daughters in the formation. It makes his buff, difficult to really spike. We've trained for this. This increases the effect of Found Family, that's the gold find, based on how far from the front of the formation Mehen is placed. The effect is increased by 20% for each column, stacking multiplicatively. That's the good way. Which means Mehen becomes a huge gold find booster in a stretched out formation like we see with Avondra. In a shorter formation, not so much. This is important to note in Azaka farming. There's Mehen competes with Omen in his slot, usually for who's in producing gold find for an Azaka farm. If it is a long, stretched out formation like this, Mehen wins. Mahen's with the multiplicatively stacking bonus. Mehen is a big deal. If it's a short squat formation like 4 columns, then it's layout dependent, but Omen has a better shot at winning that one. Much better shot. So if we look at, let me see, do I have his tiefling? I do. So if we look at Found a Family right now, all the way in the back, I'm getting an EO4 bonus, and that's just with 1 tiefling, just Mehen counting as a tiefling, because he's in the back. If this were a squatter formation and there were only 4 columns, I'm looking at a 1.51. So not a huge difference, but still, when you're dealing with the Azaka formations, every little bit counts. Every little bit counts. So yeah. Lightning Breath. Let's talk about Lightning Breath, because I think that was it on abilities, if I remember correctly. Yes. Lightning Breath. Mehen leaps forward and breathes a cone of lightning that damages all enemies on the screen. So this is a screen-wide effect, even though it looks like a cone. It's going to hit every enemy on the screen. If he damages more than 5 enemies, so if there's more than 5 enemies on the screen, his Grumpy stacks are set to 50. That's the sweet spot, remember? That's right in the middle. And he gains and loses stack at 10% of the normal rate for 30 seconds. This means it puts him right at the highest part of his buff, which makes his ultimate potentially a power boost button. But it's only if there's more than 5 enemies on the screen. So that it will sit in the sweet spot, and because it changes the rate of gain and loss, it will waver from the sweet spot less than it would normally. So it tries to keep you there when you hit that ultimate. Now again, this is great if you have massive waves of enemies on the screen. I'm gonna try and get us 5. I don't know if this is gonna happen. I don't know that we can get 6 enemies on the screen right now because they're just so low health. Oh, there's 5. There's 4. 5. No, 4. Give me a massive wave. That was better, but then we changed. Yeah. So it's not really going to work at a low level. Maybe we'll take a look at it later. But if you can get that, then when you hit this, his meter is just gonna peg right in the middle, and it's gonna stay there, and you'll have the biggest buff effect going on. Here's what it looks like visually, though, just so you get an idea. And it didn't. It broke. We'll look at it later. We'll look at it later. Great. Thanks, client. Thanks for breaking while I'm doing the tutorial. Appreciate it. Okay, let's talk about items and feats. So Mehen is pure support, so damage of all champions items. Then we get a Grumpy and a Gruff buff. This is basically going all in on Grumpy, because remember, Gruff just buffs Grumpy. So that just ramps that buff up a lot. Then we get a gold find item in Found Family, and then we reduce the cooldown on his ultimate attack, which is, I mean, that's a big deal, because again, we want to have that ultimate available to hit that power boost as often as possible. I want to call out something that C&E changed and makes things a little more transparent, but might confuse some people. So let's clear up some of the confusion. So there's now this little bar above an item portrait. If we see, if we look at the top, you'll see it says level 257/501. What is that? There are certain items in the game that have a level cap. They just can't go above a certain level. And the level cap is going to depend on the rarity of the item, usually, and whether it's gilded or not. Gilding means shiny or golden or plain, like this one's plain. So this is an epic/legendary item. It is ungilded. So that means, and it is a cooldown reducing item. All ultimate attack cooldown reduction items, specifically reduction items, have a cap. If it is ungilded, it is 501, and that is because the most you can reduce, the maximum reduction on a cooldown, is 75% of its original, like the base cooldown time. So the best way to illustrate this is with Brunner, the tutorial dwarf. Brunner's base ultimate cooldown is 60 seconds. But once you cap out his item, it is 15 seconds. That is a 75% reduction. Okay. So what they have done is they've now gone in to show you that, hey, there's caps on certain items. It's not on all items. Notice there's none of those bars here. Just very specific items, primarily ultimate cooldown reduction items, with some exceptions that are usually speed related, or that are all speed related, actually, currently. So yeah, and now you're going to see how far do I have to go to get it to cap out. Ungilded 501, shiny. I want to say 256. Hold on, 251. That's right, 251. I don't know what I was thinking, 256. Shiny 251. So roughly half from the shiny. And then if I go look at Briv has one of the, I think maybe the only golden slot 6 for cooldown reduction. If it's golden, 126. 126. So 126, 251, 501. specifically for ultimate cooldown reduction. Now, there are obviously there are other speed items. They're going to have different, depending on the champion and how much power they wanted to give it. They're going to have a different cap number, but just know that's what's going on now when you hover over these. Feats. Mehen's got a bunch. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the stack of feats. I like it when we have variety. Para damage all champions. We get just a straight up gold find. So this isn't boosting found family. This is just straight up all gold find. Adopted father. That's the one that makes him count as a tiefling. We get grumpy. We do get found family. They need to change these icons to gold coins so that you know that's the gold find stuff. And then brimstone angels. Brimstone angels. So the only thing they're not buffing is gruff, and that's fine because they're already buffing grumpy, right? So a lot of different feats available for Mehen, which is nice. All right, let's talk about Nordem. Nordem, the backwards Modron. Nordem, non-binary. Modron fighter. Yeah. Lawful neutral, and fulfills the support role, so not your DPS or your tank. Unaffiliated whatsoever. Ranged basic attack, you can tell because it's the arrowhead. Gear spirits, Nordem simultaneously fires 2 crossbows at the closest 2 enemies. You can see him dual wielding here. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Hold on, I can't play the game when he's not in his correct skin. There we go. All right, Nordem is fairly straightforward. Form orderly ranks. Nordem increases damage of all champions in the column ahead of him by an amount. That's it. Well, it's not it, but that's the big thing. That's the core buff on his kit. He has a modifier, but that's it. Yeah, so column ahead. So this is why they put him in that column by himself in his formation with the 4 things in front of him. That just means you want him behind your DPS. In the column behind your DPS. Rule of law. Nordem increases the effect of form orderly ranks by 100% for each lawful champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. That's the good way. I don't know that you necessarily build a formation or lawful around Nordem to get that bonus, but it's a thing. I mean, you can. That would be going all in on Nordem in a way that I don't know is maybe the best. But you're going to get a bonus if you're running a lawful formation. There are some other champions out there that like lawful as well. So if you have a DPS that likes lawful or another person that has lawful, that'd be great. That'd be great. Okay, the specialization choices, we get right into that. Piercing bolts versus explosive bolts. So, piercing bolts, enemies hit by Nordem's Gear Spirits attack take 100% more damage for the next 10 seconds. This stacks up to 2 times, additively, not multiplicatively. So, you're going to get 200% more damage instead of 100 if you hit them twice. And the timer resets and it applies again before the 10 seconds are up. So, this is a debuff. 200% more damage. That means it's a triple damage bonus. So anything he shoots is going to take triple damage if you go piercing bolts. I tend to do that one. Just going to let you know. That tends to be my default spec. Explosive bolts. Nordem's Gear Spirits attack explode upon impact, pushing the target back a short distance. So explosive bolts is if you want a knockback. There are situations where you might want knockbacks. In fact, if you're using Solok, who's another ranged champion, who buffs based off and has triggers based off knockbacks. Nordem as a ranged champion alongside them with explosive bolts is a good combination if you're just focusing on building that niche ranged knockback type of situation. But I'm a big fan of the debuff. How many volts in a bolt? Yeah, thanks. You caught that. That's going to be a different skin for Nordem. That'll be Lightning Nordem, where it's volts, piercing volts. All right, Modron Core Toolbox. This is the I feel like this is more Nordem's niche. This is what Nordem kind of exists currently to do. Nordem increases the amount of experience gained on the Modron core attached to his adventuring party when completing new areas.
by a small amount, and you can buff that amount clearly. So Nordem helps you level up your Modron core. Makes sense. He's a Modron. He's the backwards Modron. That's literally his name. So he's going to get you more experience for the core that's loaded into his party. He's not getting me any right now because my core's at max, but on my new player account that I just started, I've got him in all my grinding formations now because I'm trying to level up my Modron core faster. And even though it's a small number, I'll take it. Whatever makes it go quicker. Whatever makes it go quicker. So this does have item support over here with this slot 4 item, which means if you throw an outrageous number of item levels on him, you can level up any new Modron core outrageously fast. The problem is this is that's a whole lot to put into Nordem when he only, outside of that, only really has one buff. So yeah, because that's it, folks. Look at that. Nothing else on Nordem. He's there to buff your core, or he's there to buff the column ahead of him, and that's it. Nordem, however, while Mehen may be my favorite champion in the game, Nordem has my favorite ultimate in the game. I'm going to turn off progress because it's just too good. Nordem's ultimate is the Frequent Modron March. A multitude of Modrons march from left to right over 15 seconds, pushing all enemies back a short distance and dealing ongoing massive damage as they pass by. So this is a screen-wide knockback damage, continuous damage like dot over time, and it's the best. Here we go. There they come. That's a lot. Okay, that's going to stop now, right? Anytime it's going to stop anytime. No? It's just going to keep, is that okay, that's, you got everybody there now. Okay. That was a lot. I love it so much. When it does that, it is hitting everything that it's moving through. It is great for just ripping through hit-based enemies, those ones with the little segmented health. Or if your bud is high enough, armored enemies as well. It's just constant damage. And it's great. And look, its cooldown's almost back up again. It lasts so long. I have a 72-second cooldown, but it lasts so long that it feels like I can just have it up almost constantly. Look at that. There they go again. It's the best. It really is. It really is the best. It lasts for like 22 seconds, so then you're only waiting like 50 seconds for it to come back. It's so good. Yeah, they called it frequent for a reason. It's just great. It's just great. I love it. It makes me happy, if you can't tell. Item-wise, pair of Damage All Champions items. You can buff Form Orderly Ranks. Imagine that. You can buff that Modron Core Toolbox. Then you can buff the ultimate damage and reduce the cooldown. I've got that one capped. See, 501 out of 501. Yay! I need to throw a shiny on it. Here's the thing. I should have mentioned this earlier. If you cap an item like this, and it's ungilded, and then you gild it, and you reduce that level cap down to 256 with a shiny, or 251, excuse me. Why do I keep saying 6? 251 with a shiny. You will get refunded blacksmithing contracts. This happens a lot to people. They'll be like, why did it just says I capped an item and I got a refund of blacksmithing contracts. Which one capped? It doesn't really matter, honestly. Just know that, hey, you got item blacksmithing contracts back. You can put those item levels somewhere else. Yay! But if you want to go hunting, it's, you can look at the things. Feat-wise, we get a Damage All Champions for Nordem, 4 Mortally Ranks, Rule of Law, Modron Core Toolbox. So a decent array of feats, a decent array. Yeah. Nordem could use a little love. Nordem needs some other kind of party assistance buff to really make Nordem a force to be reckoned with in the world. Because right now, Nordem's real only niche use is Well, biggest niche use is, hey, I want to level up my core faster. But then once your core's done leveling, you're done with Nordem, and that's sad. Because Nordem's so fun. Nordem's so fun. I'm going to throw my favorite skin. This one freaks... the other new one freaks me out. They don't show it here. Good. Steampunk Nordem. I like that one. Like that one. Let's talk about Evandra. Avondra arrives with her trusty sword. She's a female half-elf fighter, part of the Awful Ones affiliation. Chaotic neutral, and fulfills the tanking, support, and gold find roles. Overwhelm of 20. This is a tanking stat, so I didn't mention it on the other champions. 25 tends to be common. She's at 20, so slightly lower overwhelm. There's a reason for that in her kit. We'll talk about it. Melee attack, trusty sword. Avondra moves up next to the closest enemy and swings her sword, dealing 1 hit to all nearby enemies. So that's an AoE. It's an AoE. Her passive ability, which are what they now refer to the level 0 abilities as, is Avondra the Magnificent. Avondra can be used in any Wild Beyond the Witchlight campaign, adventure, or variant, even if she would not normally be available to be used due to variant or patron restrictions. So Avondra just does all the Wild Beyond the Witchlight stuff. All of it. Doesn't matter if a variant or a restriction says, hey, you can't have fighters, or no half-elves, or no tanks. Avondra goes where she wants in Wild Beyond the Witchlight. First real ability, Freedom's Fury. Avondra increases the damage of all neutral champions on the good and evil axis. So this tells you right away, Avondra is not to be paired with good DPS or evil DPS. Just neutral DPS. Again, that's on the good and evil axis. So that's lawful neutral, straight neutral, like it just says neutral on the sheet, or chaotic neutral, like her. That's all she's going to buff. Fairly restrictive. But it fits her affiliation. Nixie is the DPS currently out of Awful Ones. She's neutral. Never completely armless. When Avondra's health... This is the thing why she has a slightly lower overwhelm. When Avondra's health is brought to 0, she loses her left arm, but returns to full health. Her arm regrows after moving to a new area. Magic, folks. While missing her arm, she increases the damage bonus of Freedom's Fury by 100% for each second she had her arm in the current area, stacking additively and being applied multiplicatively. So the longer she stays alive in an area where you're not able to move forward with, you're having trouble clearing, before she hits 0, so the longer she could stay alive, which means she's going to like maybe some damage reduction effects. Hello, Miria. She's going to like some, maybe a little bit of healing if you've got like a really good healer, like Briv, duo tanking, or you got shields off of someone like Antreus. The longer she stays alive, the bigger the damage bonus when you hit that moment where, oh, we're at a problem. We got a problem, people. And it's going to track that over here. So you can see, seconds armed. and the bonus. And the bonus. Okay. So yeah. This is a thing. This is a thing. So there is this kind of long, dragged out potential way to get yourself damage if you need it. If you need it with Avondra. Okay. Find the secret stash. This is a gold find. Increases the formation's gold find by 100%. Every time a champion attacks but does not defeat an enemy, increase the bonus by 50%, stacking additively up to 120 times, and applying multiplicatively. This bonus resets when an enemy is defeated. So this is like what I refer to as a mini Merylwyn. Merylwyn has a buff like this. So basically, As you're early on in the run, it's not going to provide a lot of gold find. It's not really going to provide much at all. But later on, when you're not killing some things, it's going to provide a bigger gold find boost. And this is great because if you do, then when the moment you do kill them, you get a big reward for it. And that's hopefully going to let you upgrade your champions, give them more power so you can kill faster until you're capped out, right? All right. So that's Find the Secret Stash. Inspiring Fortitude Evandra increases the health of all other champions by 25% of max health. And healing effects on all champions is increased by 25%. The first part of this is the standard health share, but the second part is a nice bonus. Normally we don't get increased healing effects. So this is going to help her in her situation of trying to stay alive despite a low overwhelm. Because she's going to get increased healing effects, as is everybody else. So, yeah. Seeing things in chat about stuck. Oh, I don't know what's going on. It's almost like a green screen effect going on with my shirt, but I don't have a green screen active. I don't know what's going on, folks. Sorry. All right, specialization choices for Avondra. Powerful allies, fighting force, or carnival crew. This is not a ship situation. I just want to be... That's cruise. So this one you kind of have to pay attention to. There isn't really an easy answer here. I know they've got numbers down here for you. I want to be very clear. Sometimes when they put qualified champions numbers down here, it's a trap. I wish they would be more careful, or they would use something else. I honestly wish that they would just put the buff, the current buff that each of these would provide down here, instead of the numbers. But they're like, well, we don't just want to give you, want to make you make a decision. Well, difficulty for the sake of difficulty isn't necessarily enjoyable and becomes a trap. So let's talk about what's going on. Powerful allies increases the damage bonus of Freedom's Fury by 100% for each female or non-binary champion of the formation. All of these effects stack multiplicatively, which is the good way, and then get applied multiplicatively. So you are looking for large numbers. You want a number larger than 1, because you want the multiplicative effect going off. But the value here is going to change 100% for female or non-binary. Over here, it's 250% for fighters, barbarians, rangers, or paladins. So a much bigger number. If these two are the same, you're obviously going to pick fighting force. But the thing is, there might be a situation where this one might be 1 or 2 larger. You might still pick fighting force. You've got to do the math. On this one, you have to do the math. I'm sorry. I don't like to do the math either, but you gotta. And finally, Carnival Crew is actually the biggest bonus. It's 400%, but it's champions with a total ability score of 78 or less. So this is the best one if you can get, obviously more than 1. Some bigger numbers in here. As it is, we would go fighting force because we only have 3 champions and there's 3, so we're going to do that. But just know you've got to do some math when it comes to Avondra's spec choices. All right. Is that everything? I think so. Except for the ultimate. Let's talk about an ultimate that is probably now right up there behind Nordem's for me. Yeah. Right up there behind Nordem's for me. Improvised arms. A mechanical guard charges toward the party. Remember how we were talking about mechanical guards earlier? They're not Modrons. They're different. Avondra moves up, attacks the guard, and instantly disarms it and defeats it. She cuts its arm off. I want to be clear. She cuts its arm off. In fact, I'm going to slow down. Let's take this out so we slow down all the way. We really want to see this happen. Avondra uses the guard's arm as a weapon for the next 15 seconds instead of her sword. Ever wanted to kill a guy with another guy? Here you go. Here you go. For the duration, Avondra's attack deals an additional 3 seconds of bud damage, so her attacks actually become damaging attacks. Normally, a tank wouldn't be doing a lot of damage to enemies on a level, but she's getting 3 seconds of bud, which are set by your DPS, right? So suddenly she's doing damage. Her normal attack speed cooldown is faster by 2 seconds, so she's doing a lot of damage. And Freedom's Fury is increased by 100% for the duration, so double damage to everybody. Well, to the neutral parties. So here we go. Pay attention, folks. It's great. There he goes. Chop the arm off. Caught it. Now I'm beating people with a guy's arm. Yep. And when it goes away, when it ends, it's just instantly she has her sword back in her hand. There it is. Okay. Yes, always let the Wookiee win. I learned this a long time ago. So that's her ultimate, folks. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. It's good that the bud damage, I mean, not only is it just fun to see, in my opinion, the bud-based damage is great for chewing through, again, hit-based enemies or armored enemies, as long as your bud is high enough for the armored. But it is actually functional in that way. She is, an anti-segmented health champion because of her ultimate. Okay. Item-wise, we get a damage all champions item. Then we get a health item, because tank. Then we get Freedom's Fury buff. We get the gold find buff for finding the secret stash. Then we get an item that actually buffs those specialization choices. I want to be clear, this is both Antreus and Nixie had this, and they both did different ways. Avondra is like Nixie. She is a post-stack multiplier on the item and the feat. That's the balanced way. Whereas Antreus came in with a pre-stack multiplier. That's the broken way. Or imbalanced, I should say. Antreus really strong. Avondra, balanced. And then the cooldown reduction on the ultimate so that you can beat people with their arms more often. Feat-wise, damage all champions. Pair of straight-up gold find. Pair of health boosts for her to help keep her alive. We get Freedom's Fury. We get Never Completely Armless. We get Find the Secret Stash. See, they're showing the gold find correct here. You boost the spec choices. She also gets Overwhelm feats. That's going to help keep her alive longer. And then there's an intelligence feat. This allows her to qualify for Patron Strahd. Patron Strahd with that Keen Mind feat. All right. That's Avondra. I think that's everything. Let me talk about... Sometimes I forget to talk about their achievements. I do want to say during events, the only achievements that you have to do during the event are the numbered ones down here. That's basically a free play clearing up to 275. Just got to do one. You can unlock all 6 of those if you can get to 275. These can only be done during the event, but in any free play in the event. So it doesn't matter if it's Mehen's, Nordem's, or Avondra's. You can unlock all of this. Everything else can be done at any time. Obviously, it can be easier to do during the event, like doing all 3 variants. You might as well do that during the event. But technically, these can also be done via time gates, 1 per time gate. The very specific ones to each champion, Avondra's is killing a man with another man. So detach 100 arms with Evandra. Well, use that ultimate a lot, right? That's it. Use it 100 times. It's pretty straightforward. Nordem's is have Nordem award 1,000 additional Modron core experience. Well, have Nordem in your party. Have a non-maxed Modron core equipped. Actually, I don't even know if that matters because he counts up experience even if it's maxed. It might not matter. So you just got to use Nordem a lot. And then Mehen's is complete 1,000 areas with Mehen's grumpy stacks between 40 and 60. Best way to do that is to be using his ultimate a lot. Otherwise, potentially problematic to do. It doesn't have to be 1,000 areas at once, so that you can accrue this over time. So that's a slower one. That's a much slower one. All right, let's turn this auto progress back on. We're going to take a short musical interlude. I've got about a dozen questions that Gabe has grabbed over here that you have asked, at least that you've put question : in front of, to be clear. That's what gets grabbed and put in my document. Our musical break is the theme song from Mehen's favorite anime, Brimstone Angels, Go, Go, Go.
And I met the devil. It was a cold and stormy day. I was slightly disheveled, but I felt a spark there anyway. It taught me Eldritch Blast, and I was sure this love would last. They all told me no, but he's the devil that I know. But now we're on the road, and we've got so far to go. Brimstone angels bound together, here to run the show. We'll hunt down all your foes, punch them in the nose. Brimstone angels stand together, go, go, go. Summon the devil. It was such a boring day. He wasn't that special. I was glad to walk away. But when we got kicked out, you needed me to bail you out. I raised my blade and send devils to their grave. But now we're on the road, and we got so far to go. Brimstone angels lie together, here to run the show. We'll hunt down all your foes, punch them in the nose. Brimstone angels stand together, go, go, go. Run someone before we find ourselves. From the mountain peaks to the lowest dungeon dells, I have your back through all of the 9 hells, best of sisters. But now we're on the road, and we've got so far to go. Brimstone angels bound together, here to run the show. We'll hunt down all your foes, punch them in the nose. Brimstone angels stand together, go, go, go. Brimstone angels stand together, go, go, go.
That is so awesome. I teared up.
Such a good song. Such a good song. All right, let's dive in. I'm going to go through the on-topic questions first, and if there are any off-topic ones, I'll get to those afterwards. Again, if you have a question, put it in chat. You can see the instructions down below, question : in front of your question. That way, Gabe and I both know that that's what we're supposed to be answering, and you're not just having a chat with people in chat. Mojo Magic, the first 2 awful ones, Andres and Nix, are charisma-based champions, and Avondra has none. Are they meant to play as a unit or slot into other formations? I'm just trying to figure out their team as gimmick other than low stat totals. Oh, no, it's low stat totals. That's why they're called the awful ones. It's just low stat totals. Yeah, if you watch their YouTube short series, you'll see they're not really supposed to work together. They just are a bunch of awful ones, all in a group. You know, that's the way it works. Rainbow Loan. How does one farm chests in the free plays? Are there fixed bosses, levels that drop event chests? No. Like every 50 levels throws are just random. It's literally just complete the free play to 50. So you beat the area 50 boss. Once you pick up that bag, you can reset and that's it. You've completed it. It's not every certain number of levels. That's time gates. That's a whole different thing. So yeah, you just run to fit. I set my Modron core at 51, and I just let it cycle, so that when it gets to 51, it resets. Yeah, but yeah, you're just doing those first 50 levels. Zeloze, which of the 3 free plays is best for pushing favor? It's kind of not Mehen. Not Mehen. I don't know that the other 2, in my opinion, have a strong advantage outside of that. If you like having a single big bruiser tank with lots of support, Nordem. If you push deeper with a pair of tanks, Avondra. I think they've got a semi-equivalent adjacencies going on here. Just not this one. This one's rough. I love it. It's a heart. I love just the whole concept of it, but it's rough to push in. Just not really many adjacencies. I mean, you're maxed at 2 adjacencies. No matter where you go, that's rough. Imaginal disc. Does Mahen's feat change his race for other effects such as a shard? He becomes both. He is a dragonborn, but he will count as a tiefling. So effectively, he's dragonborn and tiefling with the feat in. Should work for anything that's looking at those types of things. I say should because, but sometimes stuff happens. And you got to submit a bug report. We'll come back to that. Floresi, what's the easiest way to get Mahen's complete 1,000 areas with grumpy stacks between 40 and 60? I mean, the easiest way is to have Farid and Havilar in the formation and arrange it so he's just constantly sitting there and do it. But even then, it's going to fluctuate based off where you are in a formation. So it's kind of just use Mehen a lot. I don't know that there is any way that you're going to make it happen. It's going to be it's going to take work. But using him a lot and just parking a familiar on his ultimate if you're grinding through stuff. It's got to be deeper. It can't be insta-kill stuff because there's got to be, more than 5 enemies on the screen. Yeah, it can take a while. I love that when he hits with the coffee mug, the coffee splashes out. I feel like that's both melee damage and heat damage at the same time. That's good. Niscus, what arm does Evandra use if she lost her arm and he used the ultimate? Well, it specifically says she loses her left arm. And when she uses her ultimate, she's holding the other person's arm in her right. So, I mean, I feel like the game answers that question for you. See, she catches it in her right hand. And her ability says she loses her left arm. So, yeah, they covered all the bases. Ninebel, of the event champions, hold on. Let me come back to that because I think that was a general question. I can do it right now. We're done with the specific questions anyway. Of the event champions, including retired ones, who would you suggest sinking item levels into after everyone is full epic? So here's the thing. I'm like 3 months into a new player account, and blacksmithing contracts for me, in the current state of the game, early on, the only person you should be dumping blacksmith contracts into is Briv. Briv the Bold. In Evandra's slot, Briv is the tank. slash support slash healer slash speed champion that is just kind of the more item levels you put on him, the more his speed effect helps you. But also by ramping that up, he's becoming a better tank, he's becoming a better support, he's becoming a better healer. He just gets real strong, real fast, and can carry your formation. And then after that, you're looking at Human. After you get him up to a certain level, then you're dunking into Human and stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't put item levels anywhere else. Oh, clarification in chat. I'm more talking about free plays and or using tokens to buy chests for retired chips. Oh, so, okay, let's talk about this real quick. You got to specify, because you didn't say of this events champions. You just said of the event champions in the game. So I took it as a broad thing. So for this event, keep in mind there are 3 champions that are no longer part of the event but arrived with it. That's Evelyn, Avalona, Helvig, Marthane, Paladin, Lathander, Keelik, Adkolar, and Jaheira. They're no longer they're time gate champions now. You can't, they arrived originally with the campaign, but you don't do anything here. The reference you're making to buying chests for retired champs, the developers have stated is not intended gameplay. So I can't speak to that. What I could say is of the 3 champions here, if you were to, once you get everybody, if you were to get everybody to full epic and then you're trying to decide who should get more item levels via free plays, I'm not sure at the moment. Obviously Nordem has a payoff if you boost his item levels, because he'll level up your Modron core faster. But once you have max Modron cores, he's not a meta support champion, so he's not going to help you a lot. Mehen is limited. Mehen is really going to be best if you're using Farida DPS. It's just the way it works. So Evandra is also kind of limited, neutral DPS only. So they're all kind of in this weird place where they all have a job, they all do it, they all have a niche, but they're not necessarily generalized strong meta champions. They're gonna do their job when you put them in to, various degrees. If Avondra had arrived with a pre-stack multiplier on her specialization bonus, she would have been imbalanced as strong for any neutral DPS, and I would say Avondra. But as it stands, I feel like it's just kind of like an equal thing, unless you just really want fast Modron leveling. They're always going to release more Modron cores, and if you want to level them up super fast, Nordem's the way to go. Yeah. All right, let me go back to the top. Matt's Bud, as a new player, what should I be spending my corrupted gems from the event on? So we actually have 2 events going on at once. One's a champion event and one's an emergence event. Modron emergence. So Modron emergence, you earn corrupted gems by killing Modrons, which times well with the Great Modron March. But also you can find Modrons in the Great Modron March, free plays and variants. But also if you just do regular free plays and campaigns, they show up there too, and there's a lot of them. So you kill stuff pretty quickly. You get some from kills, you get some from daily quests, but the daily quest is just go kill some Modrons. So it's pretty straightforward. I'm capped out here. You can tell my gems 7645 from drops, and I'm at 7646 available from drops. Quests is I've got them all so far. All right, pretty straightforward tracking system this time. Once you get these gems, what do you spend them on? Well, you spend them on stuff in the Thayan Enclave. Everything has a different gem amount, depending on what type of thing it is. Ultimately, it's kind of you do you. If you want, if you want a cool skin, like this is the Modron Nixie, This is Modron Entreus, Red Wizard Calliope, Red Wizard Whittle. If you want some cool skins for in-game currency, so just effectively free, go for it. Because once they're removed from this shop, like as you can see, there's only 11 days left for these two. That's basically through the end of this event. When they go away, when they return to the game, it will be for cash in wild offers. The same is true of these golden epics. Remember, a gilding, specifically the golden gilding, doubles the power of the item. It's just a double in power. Shiny is 50% in power. Shinies are usually easier to find. But you can also get that kind of power on an item by just putting a lot more item levels into it. Okay, so there's ways to get this, but when they go away, like Miria's is going to go away in 11 days, it will go to the cash shop. It will it'll go to the wild offers system, which is cash only. It'll rotate through wild offers. Now the feats obviously have various effects. You can click on them to find out. This qualifies in rack for Zerial. This just gives Fen an 80% buff to one of her abilities. This gives Hitch an 80% to Ricochet, which is one of his core abilities. And this is actually probably one of the best pushing feats for Human, but you have to do the math. It is situational as to when it's going to be super great. Those, when they come out of this shop, after a period of time, just like with the others, after like maybe 3 months or something like that, 3 to 6 months, these will show up in the game to be purchased for gems the same way you purchase any other feeds. So that's kind of the information there. Chests, I think all the chests are a trap except maybe Modron components if you do need more Modron parts. This is one way you can get them. But kind of the heavy favorite for most people is the Marvelous Support Pigment. This is the only way currently in the game you can get support pigments. There are going to be 4 different types of pigments. There's going to be support, DPS, tanking, and healing. But right now they're giving us the support stuff. This goes on an epic item, epic only. Can't be on a common, uncommon, or rare. So once you get an item up to epic power, you can pigment it. And it creates a new bonus effect for that item that's all champs damage 200%. So this is a triple damage item. It adds a triple damage bonus. And if you have, obviously only one can go on each item, but support champions, the support pigment can only go on support champions. So champions have 6 items, so you could technically put 6 pigments on a single champion, support pigments on a single champion. Each of those pigments multiplicatively stacking. So pigments are currently, if you're looking for power, they're currently the most power you can get from the Thayan Enclave. It's more powerful than a golden epic because, again, remember, a golden epic's only going to double what you're doing. This is a triple. And feats are percentage based, although humans because of the way Hello Fellow Humans works, this could be real big. But again, it's also going to come to the game for gems later on. So I lean towards, this is what I personally buy on my accounts, but you can buy whatever, and I'm not going to be mad at you. The Thayan Enclave is really about, you're given a lot of choices. Choose what you really want. Choose what makes you happy. If going around in this cardboard Modron one-man band skin for Entreus makes you happy, and I mean, come on, that's just fantastic. Then grab it, yeah. But if what you're looking for is what's the best power out of the Enclave, it's the support pigments. Sean Gray, Just reinstalled with over 200 days away. Welcome back. Any simple and major changes I need to be aware of? Oh God, I wouldn't even be able to go through a list. 200 days. That's a lot of days. That's what, 6.5 months, almost 7 months. That's a lot. That's a lot. Man, yeah, I don't know if there's anywhere that that stores like 7 months of patch logs, patch notes. There's a lot, just even if you go through these, that's just happened, you know, since April. I think the legendary forge changes came through, so the forge looks different and functions different. It's got filtering. It's easier now to level up, to upgrade items. There's no weekly timer anymore. The weekly timer is now attached to reforging. Trials got adjusted, and frankly, it's easier. Yes, I totally spaced out and didn't do day one, folks. It's fine. I contributed. Although my team may only see 0 DPS. Oh, I should ask them. Hold on. Because that bug needs fix. And I don't know if it is yet. Yeah, so Trials got some changes. I think it's easier to do than ever before. What else? God, so much. So much. Now, if you do patron stuff and a feat could make a champion eligible for a feat, there's a symbol that shows up that lets you know. We have these Modron Emergence events now, which is just another delivery method for power. Along with weekend buffs, there's now weekday buffs that are 3 champions instead of 5. We have 4 feats per champion now. You thought humanoids had 2 feet. Nope, they have 4 feats. 4 feats. Seasons are cruising along like wild. We just finished the 3rd. Seasons are in a really good place. I'm really looking forward to 4 because season 3 I felt with quest wise and with rewards was solid. Could there still be some improvements? Yes, and I think, but season 4 is now going to be the one where all the feedback from season 1 is really arriving because of the delay in how production schedules work. So I'm really excited for season 4. To see how it's laid out. Yeah, there's probably so much that's happened in the last 6 to 7 months. Lots of small quality of life changes. Oh, and big ones. You can now, if you open a chest and you have a bunch like this, hey, guess what? You can open more than 50. Like there's 150. Oh, I can just keep going. Up to 1,000. So you can now open up to 1,000 chests at once. And it's fast. It's as fast for me as opening 50 was. It's wild. I was not expecting it to be that fast. I was like, it can be slower. As long as I don't got to click the button 20 times to open 1,000 chests. It could still be like 10 times slower than normal. And it's still better than me trying to click through it all. But it's not. It's super fast. Super fast. So yeah, lots of quality of life changes and, and some bigger changes. Rough Rider, does Freya's Hellish Rebuke reheat Mahen's cup of coffee? Only if he hits her with the cup, which would be rude. I don't think Mahen's that kind of dad. Frankly, I don't think Mahen's that kind of dad. Rainbow Loon. I'm trying to push for the Modron core, and I'm only missing slots. 1, 2, 6, 11, and 12. It's a lot. That's 5. So you're over halfway there. For 11, 12, I can get the Tomb of Annihilation Evergreen ones. Yes. You can get Dragon Bait and Azaka, these two, out of Tomb Annihilation. So that's 11 and 12. If I'm not mistaken, for slot 1, I can get the Nerds Champion. No, don't. Don't. Lurking Rider will say, no, do it. But don't listen to the devil on your shoulder. Sorry, Lurking Rider. I'm the angel in this scenario. Nerds are like 100,000. Is it 100,000 gems? They're not worth that. Don't save. If you're a newer player, that's not worth 100,000 gems. Your gems should be going into gold chests or familiars. Some combination of both. Yeah. I don't have any time gate pieces at the moment. That's fine. You're going to get more. Are there any champions confirmed available soon for slots 2 or 6, or would it be faster just trying to get time gate pieces? Well, you can't speed up your rate of gaining time gate pieces unless you're just spending cash on the game. Time gate pieces drop off bosses once every 5 days ish. They have the chance to drop, like they're locked out once you get one, and then they unlock after 5 days, and then there's a chance that they drop. But the chance every time you kill a boss, if you don't get it, the chance goes up super quickly. So 5 days. But until you unlock patrons, once you unlock Mert, you can buy a time gate piece every week in his shop. Every patron will sell you a time gate piece a week. So things will start to get faster. So right now, just be patient. Do not buy Nerds for 100,000 gems. As a new player, gems are super important and super limited early on. 100,000 takes a long time to get early on, and it's gonna that 100,000 gems is much better for you to get familiars to make playing the game easier, with automation, and gold chests for gear and all of the consumables that come in them. What you're going to want to wait, and we're a ways out from a natural time gate too. So yeah, you're just going to have to kind of wait. You're going to have to kind of wait, and just be a little patient with it. Hold on, I'm trying to pull up. I'm not good at remembering what order the events are coming in via the in-game stuff. Next event is Dragon Down. That's Celise, which is slot 12. And Merylwyn, which is slot 2. So next event will get you slot 2 with Merylwyn. I don't know, and a random third champion, not random, but a third champion that we don't know for sure what slot they're going to arrive in yet. So that means you're looking at champions. You're looking at trying to pick up a champion in 1 and 6. So that's, when you do get around to slot 1, or Kira or Deacon, or Great Deacon for speed, or Kira for actual pushing. And slot 6, Briv. If you're doing that's 5, excuse me. Slot 6, Shandy for speed. Technically you could get Rhea as an evergreen, but she's all the way in Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. So it depends on how long it takes you to get there. But Shandy for speed or Krull for pushing power and slot 6 are great options. Yeah. Again, if you're doing a manual time gate, make your decisions, like that. If you have to wait all the way to the natural time gate, which is going to be like a month away, if it gives you a 1 or a 6, take whatever it gives you. But yeah. So because it's so long, waiting so long, maybe you make Rhea a long-term goal, like to try to get to Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus and unlock Rhea. And with a manual time gate, you grab someone out of slot 1. Yeah, because if you're out of time gate pieces right now, it's going to be a little slow. Keep in mind, when the next season starts, which we don't know. I think they said maybe the 21st, so about a month away. 3 weeks away. Potentially when the next season starts. I think that's roughly when they said it. They were thinking it's going to start. Usually the first tier of rewards includes 6 time gate pieces. And there's going to be 5 champions in that event, of which so far we only know Wolfgar is one in slot 10. They haven't confirmed the other 4 champions yet. But just know you'll get some time gate pieces then too. Yeah, unfortunately it's kind of bad timing, and you're going to have to wait a little bit, but you'll get there. You just can't race, like you can't push earning time gate pieces other than getting a patron unlocked as soon as possible. Loopy, does the Tiamat cooldown reduction bonus from sending someone to jury duty apply on top of a champion's natural limit, or is the limit constant? So if the champion's already capped out, the Tiamat reduction does nothing. It is my understanding... actually... I'm not entirely sure. It was my understanding that the cap is the cap, and it would do nothing. I have never tested that out, because honestly, I've never found that bonus to be something I cared about. But so I don't know. That might be a Dev Insights question. Might be a Dev Insights question. Sean Gray, how do you get all the new Modron cores? So if you're talking about these two, like this is your Modest core that comes with Split the Party 1. This is the Strong core that you buy additional cores, 500,000 gems. Don't do it. It's a trap. This is your Fast core that's Split the Party 2. This is the Magic core that's Split the Party 3. This is the Erois core, and this is the Unaffiliated core. They were part of Seasons, and they will most likely appear in Wild Offers. Wild Offers. Let me put my core back in. We never did see our boy Mahen's ultimate. Hold on. Let's try to get this to work now. We need 6 people on the screen. 6 enemies on the screen. There's 5. There's 4. There they are. There it goes. And he's middled out on his lightning meter. That's the way it works. And he kind of sits there for a while. If you time that with completing an area, hey. If you don't, you die like this. Because I got nobody else out there. All right. Let's get them back in. Demon Gaar. Is there a significant reason to wait to convert Season's Blessings? No. There isn't a reason at all. Just do it right away. Just do it right away is my conversion for everything. It's a multiplier. There's no reason to wait. Unless it's going to screw something up for you and you don't have time to fix it. Like if you're a Briv Modron, automated Briv gem farmer, it could screw up your stuff and you'd have to adjust. If you don't have time for that, you might want to wait. But normally just hit the button for all conversions. Dinsdale, for season rewards, what are the levels it refers to for the different reward tiers? Like get to level whatever, it's this. During a season right now, you earn experience for completing quests. You also earn currency for completing quests and favor for completing quests. As you go up levels, it's always 1,000 experience per level. As you go up levels, you unlock the different reward tiers. It doesn't show that to me because I've unlocked them all, but that's what it would be referring to. Yeah. So I was like, wait, which was it? Oh, man. Frelid, who would be the best character, evergreen or otherwise, for pigments? Oh, it doesn't work that way. The game doesn't work that way. You're looking at who you're using in your formation that has the support tag that you're using all the time and that is a solid person that you think you're going to be using for a long time. right? So that gets into talking about like what meta champions do you have? Like what are the strong meta champions you have that you're using most of the time for pushing? I focused mine on the champions I would use if I were doing a deep favor run in a free play, because that's generally where I care about having lots of power, is if I'm trying to do a deep run. Because my account generally has enough power to cover the rest anyway. So yeah, you're looking at that kind of stuff, and I can't tell you who that is, because you have to tell you who that is, because I don't know what champions you own, and I don't know which of them have epics. I can tell you I put only one on each champion in that group instead of putting them all on one. I do that as a method of if I end up using them in a variant and they're restricted out, I don't lose suddenly all that power. It's spread out. Oh, you know what I forgot to do was talk about how to gear up your champion, folks. In an event, there is no most efficient way to get full epic. That's not a thing. Epics rely on either luck or pity timers. The pity timer is shown by the purple bar at the bottom. So when you get a brand new gold chest of some kind, the pity timer starts out at 4. And then after that, it goes to 10. So if you have the worst luck possible, it's going to take you 54 gold chests to get a named chest to get an event champion full epic. But RNG says it's probably going to happen sooner than that. Right? It's just bad luck means 54. However, while your goal might be long-term full epic, early on, what you really want to just get to for usefulness is getting them to blue as quickly and as efficiently as possible. The best way to do that is to start with Electrum chests from streams like this one. These chests do drop gear for every champion you own, but when you get a new champion and they don't have gear on them, it acts like kind of a ramp. It funnels everything down to the new champion first because they don't have any gear. It kind of prioritizes them for a little bit, and then it stops, and then everything spreads out amongst everybody again. But starting off with Electrums can go whites, greens, and blues. Electrums is the good idea. Yeah. So burn whatever Electrums you've got. Most of us tend to hoard Electrums between events for this very reason, and just pop them once you get all the new champions. Then you want to move to named silvers. The reason is your first goal is to try to get your champion to at least green gear, because the only prioritization these two types of chests have is looking at filling empty slots, and after that it's just random rolls, and it can roll white, green, blue. Blue is fairly low chance, although when I have this many, it's pretty guaranteed. But most people are going to have fewer than this, so you start with these and you're going to get a smattering of white and green, and you might get lucky and get a blue. Then you start filling in with this and you're going to get a smattering of white and green, and you might get lucky and get a blue. But these are at least focused on that single champion. You do it afterwards, because otherwise these will never hit that champion. So you do Electrums first to guarantee you're going to get some usefulness out of them on towards the new champions that have no gear. Then you do the named silvers. With smaller numbers, you would then end up with maybe some greens and maybe a couple blues. And this is where the rules for gold chests come in. Gold chests will actually guarantee you an upgrade, but only to either a green or a blue item. Green or blue. You don't want to waste... The reason we try to use these first to get to full greens is you don't want to waste a gold chest's upgrade, guaranteed upgrade, on a green item. So you hold on to the golds. Hold the gold until you're green. Then every gold you open is going to give you at least a blue. At least a blue. So that's the priority. Avondra is already full blue. This was from Electrums. I did this with Electrums, so now I'm going to pop all my silvers. And the nice thing is now I can open them all at once. Boom. It's all duplicates, which is fine. That's item levels. Every time you get a duplicate, you're raising your item levels, and that's more power for that champion. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pop all 90 of these. This will get me to full epic. There they are. and lots of duplicate item levels. Lots of duplicate item levels, plus potions and contracts and stuff, and that's great. And now I'm full epic. But I'm only full epic because I use lots and lots of bounty contracts at the start of the event to get lots and lots of chests and guarantee myself that chance to get full epic. And now I'm going to go be a little OCD about my collection. Sorry, I left. Yeah, I can do this. All right. I'm an average item level 199. It'll be over 200 by the time the event ends because I will only do free plays for Avondra because I already geared up the other champions. And those champions are already at average item level 200 or higher. So I did get all of my, I did fill my collection up. I got all the different rarities of items. That's nice. It doesn't do anything for you. I just want to be clear. Not currently. But yeah, that's kind of the order you want to do it in. Electrum's first. This is just for event champions and time gate champions. If you run time gates for champions, same rules apply. Electrum's first, named silvers, named golds. And the named golds only after you get to full green. Fred. Welcome, Fred. Would you buy that Dragonbait gold in Modron Emergence? Would I? No. But could you? Sure. Again, the Modron Emergence stuff is really up to you and your personal choice. It's damage all champions. Again, my Dragonbait, I mean, it's 460%. The base epic is 230. So again, double the power base. So my boy over here, he's got 1 EO4 item level, so it's pretty strong. So it's giving an 1 EO4 bonus. So if I were to get that, because I already have shiny, it wouldn't really go up. It would be, a shiny gives a 50% bonus. Golden would be 100% bonus. It's not worth it to me to increase the bonus by 50% on an evergreen champion that gets EO4 item levels anyway. But that's a me calculation. That's not a you calculation. Make your own decisions. I just think that for 20,000 corrupted gems, that's almost 3 pigments. This is at best, this is a double in power. This is a triple in power for just 1. 3 of them, if we just go ahead and say this is equivalent to 3, which obviously is a little bit off, but tough. 3 of these multiply against each other, so that's not a triple. It's 3x times 3x times 3x, so it's 27 times the power versus just 100 times the power in terms of corrupted gems, rough corrupted gems equivalency. So, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't get any of the Goldens, personally. Because I just want the power. At some point, when I have... every support champion I own has a pigment on every item they have, I will stop caring about support pigments. And we'll start caring about things like Goldens. But we're not even anywhere remotely there yet. We're not even remotely there yet. All right, folks. That's going to be it for today, I think. We're ending a couple minutes early, but, you know, shocker. I will answer Nox Angus's question, and then we're gonna head out. But just before I answer this question, this is the last stream for the weekend on this channel. Streams will resume on Tuesday, I believe. I don't know that they have anything on Monday now. I think Familiar Quest ended. And I don't know if they've announced a new show for Mondays. So if you would like more Idle Champions, though, I will be back on my channel, twitch.tv/Gaarawarr. You can enter that below, or just click on my name in chat. I'll put my name in chat over here. Hey. You click on my name in chat, go give me a follow. Mondays, I do idle chatter about Idle Champions. We spend a lot of the day playing some Idle Champions and answering questions. I also do it on Wednesdays, but I do a guide update edition. So if you don't know, I have over 130 guides on the subreddit, the Idle Champions subreddit. There's a wiki page. There's a link for that. Somebody can drop into chat. And I just finished updating the format of all 118 champion guides, and now I'm going to go back through and make sure that everything's accurate again. And then I'm going to start making new guides. That's the idea anyway. But yeah, I also, in about an hour-ish, I will be streaming. I gotta go get lunch. I'll be streaming some games over on my channel as well. You can come hang out with me if you want to do that. It's a fun time. Nox Anguish asked, oh god, now I gotta find it. Can you put a pigment on legendary equipment? Of course. Of course. Because here's the thing. You can't... You can only forge a legendary on an epic item. And you can only put a pigment on an epic item. A legendary, despite what they try to tell you, is not a rarity increase. We can see that over here. Notice it stops at epic. A legendary is actually both epic and legendary at the same time. You keep the epic effect, you add a legendary effect. So a legendary is epic. So you can put a pigment on it. There you go. That's our last question. Thanks to Gabe. Thanks to all of you for handling all the production. Thanks to all of you for showing up and asking questions. Otherwise, this would be a really boring show. Have a great weekend, everybody. The song we're going out on, because we don't have any songs for specific people here, I Love Waterdeep. That's where we're ending. Bye, everybody.
Waterdeep, the city that never sleeps. Waterdeep, the crown of the north. Waterdeep, seek the treasure beneath. Waterdeep, don't find what you were. As I was wandering around the city of splendors, I saw the yawning portal, gate to adventure. But don't go down too far, you may meet your fate as you stumble through Lester's gates. Standing in the shade, the night statue cast, I look out to see 1,000 swaying masts. Glancing up, I see the griffins flying by. You know the city's saved by land, sea, and sky. Waterdeep, city that never sleeps. Waterdeep, crown of the north. Waterdeep, see the treasure beneath. Waterdeep, found what you were. The beauty of my home, seen in everyone. Just walk these ancient streets and see what we've adorned. But this antique city hides beneath centuries of history buried deep. There's a port of skulls westwards towards the sea, a lawless outpost run by thugs and thieves.